Hey amigas, welcome back to another one of my videos. For those that don't know me, my name is Beverly, and for those that are returning, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Today I'm very excited because I'm going to be showing you guys my first ever sublimation oven from Craft Express. I've never had a sublimation oven before. I always wondered what the hype was about and what are the real benefits to using one of these. So today in this video I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. But before we do go ahead and get started, don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Make sure you guys like this video and share it with everyone just to make sure everyone sees it as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is a Craft Express sublimation oven. As you can see, it is a good size. It's not too big, not too small, and it does have 3 knobs to control Celsius to Fahrenheit, heat temperature, and as well as your time. This sleek model right here, I do love. The color is really nice, and you can see when you open it, it is like an oven, of course. So the cool thing about sublimation ovens, because I know you guys are gonna ask, is what is it really used for? So I like to think about it, it could be used for things that are hard to sublimate with a flat heat press or a tumbler press, such as champagne flutes, tumblers that have curves on them, or any other item like dog bowls or anything that you want to sublimate, but it's almost impossible to get into the shape on a flat heat press or tumbler press like I mentioned, or even mug press. Okay, so that's the main use that I would think that it's more useful for. And another thing that's convenient is that you can do multiples at once and having to press one at a time. So I really do think that the sublimation oven is going to come in handy, and I can't wait for us to go ahead and get started with our project today. So let's go ahead and get to sublimating. All right, amigas, since we will be sublimating on those champagne-like glasses, we are going to need some materials and things to get started. First things first, obviously your sublimation oven. You'll also need your heat gun. You're going to need shrink wrap to match the size of your blank, sublimation paper, highly recommend heat gloves or a mitten, your sublimation glasses. These are from Craft Express, as you guys can see. These are the sublimation stemless flute glasses. This is in the 4-pack. And last but not least, your sublimation printer of your choice. Mine is a converted 2720, which is an Epson EcoTank down here with Cosmos ink. So let's go ahead and get started. So here are the sublimation flute glasses, which are stemless. It was a 4-pack. We're only going to be using 2 today to go ahead and customize. It can be for a his and hers type of thing, bridegroom, or let's say you're going to have a bridal shower where you want to give each one a champagne glass. That would be amazing to customize for them. And yeah, you can kind of get creative with it. But I'm going to be using 2 today. Let's go ahead and open one up so you guys can see kind of how they are and how they look like. They're not super big, they're not super small either. I think they're a perfect size to give away as a gift or just to be doing some casual drinking. So here it is. This is the stemless one version, like I said, because usually the champagne glasses have a little stem to them. They are frosted and they are ready for sublimation. So this is how the glass looks like. I think it's very cute. I wanted to bring one out today because I wanted to measure it so we can get our measurements, because a lot of the time whenever you guys are sublimating, I get asked what sizes or what dimensions I need to have for a specific sublimation blank, and my answer is always going to be measure, measure, measure. It is super important that we are measuring our blank spot so we know how big our design or our image is going to be. So because this is more of a rounded type of cup, this is why we like to use the sublimation ovens for these type of things. But I will also show you guys how I measure using my little measuring tape from the fabric section. So let's just go ahead and get a good measurement. Depending on where you're going to put your design, I would say as far as my width, so the design can be looked at from one angle, I'm not going to go further than the 2 inches in width. And then if the design is going to be more elongated going down, I would say for my preference, maybe about 4 inches down, so it's somewhere in the middle. It's not starting too high up or going too low. So I would say about a 2 width by 4 for my design on one of these glasses would be amazing. So let's go into the computer part, and I'm going to pull up some designs that I want to put on here, and then we'll get to sublimating. All right, amigas, getting right into the tutorial here. So I'm just on Adobe Illustrator. This is where I like to print all of my sublimation designs, just because I feel like the color and everything comes out a lot more vibrant. So getting started, I'm going to go over to New File, and we are just going to create something on our own. The actual size of your artboard, I like to set to the actual size of my paper. So whatever size paper I'm going to be printing on, that's what I like to set it to. so I can make sure my designs fit inside those parameters and nothing is off centered, nothing is incorrectly sized. So let's go ahead and now look into that. And because the sublimation paper I'm going to be using is the A-Sub paper that is 4 inches in width and 9.5 in height, that's what I'm going to be setting my sublimation parameters to. Everything else, just make sure you have 300 high PPI, which is pixels per inch, so you can get good resolution on your design, and just go and hit create. You can see now when I hit create, the actual sheet of your paper is pretty much your artboard, which is awesome. So whenever you get to printing, everything is sized correctly, like I mentioned. All right, so the type of design that I'm going to be adding to these are going to keep it very simple. I'm going to actually just do Mr. and Mrs. Like I said, these are great for weddings, bridal showers, anything like that where you can do as a gift, or even customize them for any bridesmaids or anything as that goes. So it's just going to say Mr. and Mrs. And I'm going to use a very nice cursive. So I'm just going to go ahead and find that now. You guys can get all of these different scripts and different fonts from dafont.com. If you guys are using anything for personal use, I highly recommend going with these fonts because they're accessible, and best of all, they are free. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it over as well on this side. We're keeping it very casual, very basic today. And of course, if you wanted to add anything else to these, you could, like the actual last name as well, which could be a great idea. I'm just gonna have to make everything a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and type in our last name, which is Garcia, and see how that looks. Okay, here goes one. And then we're just going to go ahead and copy and paste and get one that says Mrs. Garcia. And just because I am extra, I will be adding a little additional heart to mine, just because I want it to be a little bit more personalized. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it in now. All right, so now to bring it down in size, like we had mentioned, I am going to go ahead and change his to probably like a blue color so we can see the brightness on that. And I will be changing all of mine to one solid color as well. And I'll probably do like a pink color. So let me go ahead and pull that now. I'm going to go and group it, and then same to his. We're going to make sure that's all one piece. And then keep in mind, we had measured about 2 width and about, I would say, give or take, for the length or the height. The highest I would go to 4, but because if we're going to set this to 2, it will automatically set it to about whatever height it's going to do. So it looks like 2 inches in width went 2.26 in height, which that's perfect. And then same thing we're going to do to that one is do 2, and that one will change obviously because of the differences. I could always do just a little bit more elongated if I wanted to on both, where there is that, and then fix my little heart so it doesn't look like it's warped. I'm just going to ungroup that, click on my little heart and bring it in a smaller. That way it looks like the perfect size, and just regroup everything and make sure everything's resized over. So now that I have both designs here, obviously I went with my smaller sublimation paper, so I'm not wasting as much empty space. This is perfect. We're gonna go and hit File. We're gonna do Print Directly. And whenever you do, you wanna make sure if you're using Adobe Illustrator, your media size is also set up to the same thing, which is a 4 by 9.5. So let's go ahead and click that again, see if it adjusted. If not, we can go ahead and do so, making sure we're selecting the right printer and the right dimensions as well. Okay, here we're going to do our user defined. And whenever you hit user defined, if you're using a Windows, you will know user defined is where you set your custom preferences for your media type or paper size. And then we're going to use premium presentation paper matte, high quality, and then going over to more options, I do custom, advanced. I like to do Adobe RGB just to get a better color result. and turn off high speed, and don't forget to mirror your design. It is very important you are mirroring your design for sublimation. If not, this will not be pretty, you guys. Trust me when I tell you guys this, it's very important to do so. We're going to go ahead and hit print, and your paper needs to adjust, and sometimes it does it to me on Adobe Illustrator, but I have to click a couple of times before my actual paper size is adjusted. Like you guys can see now, it's working, but we want to double check our settings. So I am just going to go to more settings, and it looks like everything reset. I don't know why Adobe does this to me, but if you guys figure out an easier way other than having to unclick it and click it back, let me know definitely. So we're going to do mirror, turn off that, and you guys can always pause to see the exact settings that I chose for my sublimation printer, which is the converted 2720. So let's go ahead and get on printing. Now that the sublimation prints are done and ready to go, I have my clear sublimation heat resistant tape and some scissors, and we're going to go ahead and apply those designs onto our mugs. Let's go. Okay, here are the designs. You can see that they have been mirrored because you can see through with the light on one side. I'm just going to try to be as straight and as careful as possible when cutting these, just so we make sure that we are simply just cutting out what we need. You see how on here, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm going to get really close, there is some black that printed or any ink that got left over. You want to make sure you remove that, because if not, what will happen is that whenever it comes down to pressing, you can get some of that black transfer onto your glass, so we don't want that. So here's the first one. You can see it says Miss Garcia. Remember, this is why it's mirrored, because if you press it the wrong way, it's not going to look right. But I think that was a perfect size. You can see now, you can also see a reference for our glasses here. So I'm going to continue to do the same to the other one, and then I'll come right back. So I'm back now. You can see they're both already cut out and they're ready to go. Now I am going to show you guys a little tip when using a curved cup like this. You do want to make some cuts around your design just to kind of give it flexibility to fold over or bend over whenever it's going to be applied over to the glass. So just make sure you don't cut out the actual design. I'm just simply making some cuts on my paper, like you can see right here, so it's a lot more flexible and it can be actually curved or bent over where it's not going to ruin anything. So let me go ahead and do the same thing to this one so we can kind of go get ahead and get started. Now that these are ready to go, I'm going to take a couple pieces of my sublimation resistant tape, or it's just called actually heat resistant tape, and I'm just going to cut a couple pieces just so I can have them ready to go. Make sure you avoid to put your fingerprints right over the ink, and make sure also that your glasses are cleaned and ready to go. That way there's no imperfection, no ghosting, none of that. I'm just going to make sure they're leveled somewhat in the center here, and I'm not going to be 100% perfect, but I do want it somewhat in the center, so I'm just going to look at it right here, and I'm going to start applying. I'm going to hold it down, and then with my pieces of tape, you just want to wrap it, make sure it's sealed on tightly. Okay, and we're going to start sticking these on. Make sure you have all of your corners where it's tacking down completely. Okay, it's okay to have a little bit of excessive tape. There's no right or wrong way to do this, just as long as your full design is completely down and there's no air bubbles or no air pieces coming up from any side. Just make sure that it's all pushed down. So now that you guys saw how I did that one, I want you guys to take a closer look at it. This is how it is. I just secured it all around. Now we'll go ahead and do the other one off camera. Here are both of them, Miss Garcia, Mr. Garcia. So here you have them. They look good, ready to go, you guys. I'm super excited. Let's go ahead now and turn on our sublimation oven, preheat it, and then we'll get to putting these in the oven. Let's go. All right, you guys, so it has come to the time where we're gonna be changing our temperature and adjusting our time. So here is to switch from Celsius and to Fahrenheit. So if you actually see right now, we have it under Celsius. If I hold this button down, it's gonna switch over to Fahrenheit. So I'm just holding it down, and right now it's at 393. So we need to make sure we set our sublimation oven for 370 for these sublimation flute stemless glasses. Okay, so we're gonna do 370. So we're just gonna turn the dial over, and we want to kind of get almost exact. Oh, I see. This is the upper, for the upper spot, and then the lower heat. Okay, we're just gonna adjust both of them to around 370. The closest that looks like we're getting is 373, so that should be okay. And this is for the both upper and lower. So this is upper and lower, and then when you open this up here, this is your upper area and your lower. Okay, so that's what it looks like it is. So we're just gonna kind of leave it at 373. And then now for our timing, we want to do about 12 minutes. So now for our time, we're gonna scroll to the side and we're gonna set it at 12 minutes. Okay, and then you see here there's a stop, start, and a pause button. Right there is where you're gonna actually hit it, so we can kind of go ahead and continue, and it's gonna preheat our oven. Okay, so let's go ahead and preheat. Okay, amigas, now that the sublimation oven is preheating, I do have my little shrink wrap sleeves that are gonna go around the actual flutes here. You guys can see they pretty much fit right on. Craft Express has a great selection of these, so if you guys need any, check them out. So I'm just gonna open it up like so. Something like this, just pop the sleeve on. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to this one. They're both ready to go. Now we're gonna use our heat gun to kind of shrink everything through. If you want to be safe about it, make sure you wear a glove if you feel like it's gonna get too hot on your hands. If not, go ahead, and next thing you know, you're just gonna grab your heat gun and you're gonna hit it with your heat gun until they start to shrink around and tight around your glasses. Okay, so let's do that now. This is a little hot, so be careful, but you can see how it shrunk it around the glass, and then this is the other one. So let's go ahead and do the same to this one next, and you guys are going to see the difference next to each other. Alright, amigas, now it's time to put these champagne glasses inside our oven. You guys can see it's already pretty much at 370. It already beeped at me a couple seconds ago. So now that it's ready to go and both of these are prepped, we're gonna put them into our oven on the top tray and then start our counter. Okay, so let's go ahead and open that now. Be very careful. This is where your handy mitten is gonna come into play, and we want to go ahead and just pull it far enough and put both of them down. And we're just gonna put one here and then the other right next to it. There we go, and just slide it in and close it. All right, let's start our timer. Okay, you guys can see how our timer is now going from the 12 counting down. So it has the 12 minutes on here, and it's gonna start doing its magic. Can't wait for you guys to see the final product, and I can't wait either. It's almost done, you guys. It's down to its last about 20 seconds ish. So we have our little silicone mat right here. We're just gonna put it on the side here, and we're gonna put our little sublimation flutes there. I also have another Craft Express glove that I'm gonna be using, and this is gonna help us get them out. Okay, so let's go in and get them out. So it stopped the timer automatically. It turned off the oven, which I really do like because it doesn't keep on heating it or anything. It's pretty hot in here, so make sure you guys are using something that's going to protect your hands because you want to get in here. I'm also going to use my mitten though that they also sent me in another package just so I can get this out. Okay, and we're just going to grab this one at a time and we're going to place it over on our mat here, and we're going to get both of them out now. So they're still cooling down. Look a little like this. You can kind of see this one. And then this one, oh my gosh, it looks a little more, look like it bubbled up on the shrink wrap, but all is well. They're still pretty hot, so we're going to let them cool down. Once they're fully cooled down, we'll kind of start taking off the shrink wrap, okay? So we'll let them alone for a couple minutes. They're still a little warm, but we're gonna go ahead and open one. That way we can kind of get them going. So once this shrink wrap is pretty much dried, it comes off super easy. I do see that the paper turned yellow, so I'm hoping it didn't burn anything. But we're also gonna use our pick just to try to get all of that stuff off. Let's see how it did. I'm hoping it wasn't too much time. Oh my gosh, the bottom is still kind of hot. Okay, look at that. Oh my goodness, you guys. Look at that. This is on a frosted cup. So this is what we're working with. Here you go. It looked like it did sublimate. So not too bad for my first time with the sublimation oven. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go ahead and get the other one done so I can show you the final product on both. All right, there they are. Here is Mr. Garcia and the other one. Let me know what you guys think, you guys. I think these came out really, really good. And these were the final results on the champagne stemless glasses, amigas. As you guys saw on the last clip, I'm very excited because I cannot wait for me and my husband to use these when we're drinking a little wine, you know. So I think these are very convenient. Now, if you ask me the benefits of using a sublimation oven, I will say now that I did my final review and these are my thoughts, is that I think it is convenient when you have 2 or more items that you're wanting to press or, you know, sublimate at once. I feel like that's where the sublimation really does come in handy. Another thing, whenever you have a object or a shape that is like super random, you're not going to find your standard heat press like this where you're able to flat out sublimate, or a tumbler press that fits every shape to what you're needing. So whenever you're sublimating like random little items here and there, specifically these glasses as well, they're not random, but just saying because of the corners how they're rounded, it's a lot easier to sublimate these in an oven. So because of those 2 main factors, I think I really did enjoy this oven today. So if you guys like what you guys saw, please leave me your honest reviews and any doubts or questions down in the comments down below. I would greatly appreciate that, as well as make sure you guys are liking this video and you are subscribed and you turn on your post notification bell to be notified every time I upload a video, okay? I can't wait to sublimate more fun things with my oven, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, amigas.